We are going to start with this chapter, enemy. Okay. Now, children, what is there in the story? I just summarize that thing first, and then we will start with reading the chapter. The story, the enemy, that takes place in the year 1941. Okay, the story takes place in the year 1941 when Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. So, what did the Japanese say? They attacked Pearl Harbor, and so naturally, what happened? America and Americans and the Japanese. Okay, they were enemies now. Okay, so here it is a story of a Japanese doctor. The story of a Japanese doctor named Dr. Sudhir Hockey. Okay, and now we will start reading the chapter. So let's move on to the chapter. Dr. Sudhir Hockey House was built on a spot of a Japanese coast where as a little boy he had often played. The low square stone house was set upon the logs well above a narrow beach that was outlined with the bent pines. Now what is there, children? The writer introduced the main character of the story, that is Dr. Sudhir Hockey. Okay? And Dr. Sudhir's house was situated on the coast of Japan, and he had been living there since his childhood. Okay, the house had a low height and was made of stone, and it was set upon the rocky peak, okay, which had a boundary line made with the pine trees. Okay, pines, here is a trees. Okay, pine trees, and that were tilted towards one side. Okay, with the bent pine trees, these pine trees are tilted towards one side. Okay, as a boy, Sudhir had climbed the pines, supporting himself on his bare feet, as he had seen men do in the South Seas when they climbed for coconuts. And when he was a child, what he was doing, he would climb up the pine trees on his, okay, he would climb the pine trees, okay. Now, on his one of his visits to the South Seas, he would have seen the men do in order to get coconut from the trees. So, what he used to do, when he was a child, he used to copy that. He tries to copy that, and he tries to climb on the pine trees. Okay. His father had taken him often to the islands of those seas, and never had he failed to say to the little brave boy at his side, "Those islands yonder, they are the stepping stones towards the future of Japan." And what is it? He would accompany his father to the island, and his father would point towards the island and would say that those were the stepping stones towards the future of Japan. Okay, so Dr. Sudhir would question him now that where shall we step from them? Sudhir had asked seriously. Dr. Sudhir, what he used to do when he was a child, he very seriously used to ask his father that where would they reach from those islands? Where would they go from those islands? Who knows? His father had answered. Who can limit our future? It depends on what we make it. And what his father used to tell, that he used to reply that it was not known as it is dependent on the future. Okay, the future has no limits, and it depends on mankind how we shape its future. Okay, so it depends on the mankind how the mankind used to shape its future. So father told that future has no limit. Okay, children, I have given the meaning also. Rondo means at some distance in the direction pointed at. Okay. Next, Sudhir had taken this into his mind as he did everything his father said. His father, who had never joked or played with him, but who had spent infinite pains upon him, who has his only son. Now Sudhir had taken all the things that his father would tell him. Okay, his father never played or joked with him. Okay, they shared a mature relation. There's a mature relation between him and his father underwent a lot of hardship to bring him up. Okay, and Sudhir knew that his education was his father's chief concern. For this reason, he had been sent to sent at 22 to America to learn all that he could be learned of surgery and medicines. He had come back at 30, and before his father died, he had since now become famous not only as a surgeon but also as a scientist. Now, what is there for children? The student knew that his father's chief concern was his education. Okay, he was sent to America at the age of 22, and there he studied surgery and medicines. Okay, and he returned at the age of 30. And before his father died, what happened? He saw Sudhir become famous not only as a surgeon but also as a scientist. Okay, so his father wished him that he should become a famous doctor, but he not only become a famous surgeon but also a famous scientist too. So whatever his father has had a dream, his father had a dream. Okay, so he has fulfilled his father's dream now. Because he was perfecting a discovery which would render bones entirely clean, he had not been sent abroad with the troops. Now, what is there, children? I told you that that was wartime. Okay, wartime was going on. The was on his way to discover a treatment for bones. Okay, which would make them absolutely clean. Okay, entirely clean means absolutely clean. And he had not been sent abroad with the troops. Okay, so that is why he was not sent abroad with the armed forces as a doctor. You know the war is going on, so a doctor must be there with the troops, the armed persons. Okay, but he was not sent. In spite of it, he was very famous. He's a good doctor. In spite of that, also he was not sent with the troops. Okay. Also, he knew that there was some slight danger and the old journal might need an operation for a condition for which he was being now treated medically. And for this possibility, Sudhir was being kept in Japan. And now, what is there, children? Now, also, he was retained in Japan. Why? Because the whole general was suffering from a disease. Okay, and he was undergoing a medical treatment, and the treatment was given by Dr. Sudhir. Okay, and might be possible in the case of emergency, possibility that the journal, okay, he might need it to be operated, okay, upon, okay, in the case of emergency. That was two reasons. Okay, there are two reasons for reasons why Dr. Sudhir had not been sent with the troops. First reason is because he was perfecting a discovery which would make the wounds entirely clean. And second, the journal was ruling the Japan, the country that time. Okay, he is undergoing some medical treatment, and that treatment was given by Dr. Sudhir. Okay, that treatment is the Dr. Sudhir is taking that treatment, and he knows that in case of emergency, that journal might need a operation. So that's why it is not being sent with the troops. Okay. Clouds were rising from the ocean. The unexpected warmth of the past few days had a night drawn heavy fog from the cold waves. Now, what is there, children? The writer describes the scene outside Dr. Sudhir's house. He was saying that as the days were usually warm. Okay, but now what is the sea waves were becoming cold and the night became foggy. Okay, so night become foggy. So Sudhir watched mist hide outline of a little island near the shore and then come creeping up the beach below the house. Okay, working around the pines working around the pines. Now what did Dr. Sudhir saw that the boundary of a nearby island become invisible gradually as it got covered by the mist. Okay, so the boundary become invisible, and why? Because it is covered by the mist. Okay, and slowly the mist was coming closer to him also. Okay, so at that time he saw that the mist has covered the pine trees also. In few minutes, fog would be wrapped about the house too. Then he would go into the room where Anna, his wife, would be waiting for him with the two children. Now, at that time, he would, when the mist has covered, when the fog has covered his house, so he decided to go inside. He would go inside back into the house. okay, to his wife and Hannah. Wife name was Hannah, and who was waiting for him along with the two children. Okay, so the narrator has, sorry, writer has given the description of his family also in this paragraph, that he was married, he had a wife and two children. Okay, but at this moment the door opened, and she she looked, out a dark blue woolen pillow over her kimono. Now, what is there at this moment when he was planning to go inside? So before Sudhir could go inside, the door opened and his wife looked out for him. Okay, and she was wearing a dark blue colored gown over her dress. Okay, the meaning of heroine and blue is given down in the books. It is there in your book, so that's why I've not written. She came to him affectionately and put her arm through his as he stood, smiled and said nothing. Now she lovingly crossed her arms with his and smiled at him, and they both remained silent. And she came and stood beside him, by him. He had met her in America, but he had waited to fall in love with her until he was sure that she was a Japanese. Now, where he met with his wife, they had met in America. And Sudhir knew that his father, Sudhir knew this thing, that Sudhir fall in love with her, but he waited to express his feelings. Okay, why? Because he wants to know that this girl, Rina, was Japanese or not. And why he wants to know, there's a reason his father would never receive her unless she had been pure in her race. Because he knew this thing that his father would marry him to a Japanese girl only. So he ensured this before falling in love with Hannah. Before expressing his feelings to Hannah, he ensured this thing that she is Japanese or not. He wondered often whom he would have married if he had not met Hannah, and by what luck he had found her in the most casual way, by chance literally at an American professor house. Now Sudhir would often tell Hannah, okay, he was often used to think of it, he often used to wonder this thing, that he considered himself to be lucky. Okay, he used to think that he was lucky to be accidentally met Hannah, okay, at an American professor house. Now, where they met in America, and where at an American professor house. So they met at an American professor house, and Sudhir feeling himself very lucky that he found Hannah as a wife, okay, and they were met in a very casual way. You can say accidentally they met there. The professor and his wife had been kind people, anxious to do something for their few foreign students, and students, though both, had accepted this kindness. What is their children? This professor and his wife, okay, they are the kind, okay, they are kind people, and they were keen to help the foreign students, okay. So he was glad that he had accepted the kindness. Now here Sudhir was very glad that he had accepted the kindness. Why? Because of that kindness only he went to their house, and because of that only what happened, he met Hannah. Okay, so he was now feeling very lucky, and he was very glad that finally that day he had accepted that invitation which is sent by professor and his wife, and he went there, and there he found Hannah. Okay. Though had often told Hannah how nearly he had not gone to Professor Harlot's house that night. The rooms were so small, the food so bad, Professor White so vulgar. But he had gone, and there he found Hannah, a new student, and had felt he would love her if it were all possible. Now, what is there, children? That Sudha would often tell Hannah about this. Okay, he used to tell Hannah that it was a coincidence. Okay, that he went to the professor's house that night, and he was not willing to go. And what is the reason there why he was not willing to go to his house? Because the rooms in his house were very small, food was not good, and the professor wife was so talkative. Toulble means talkative, and she was very talkative. So that's why he don't want to go to his house, but then too he went. Okay, and if I had not gone, he always used to tell that if I had not gone there that night, he would not have met Hannah. And at that time, Hannah was what? She was a new student, and Siddhartha thought that he would love her if it all would be possible for him. Why he said that if it were all possible? Why he said this thing? Because he knows this thing that his father will not agree if she was not a Japanese. So that time there was a news, and when he saw, had a feelings for uh, he had a feelings for her. Okay, so he thought that if it is possible, what I am going to do, I am going to express my feelings to this girl. Okay. Now he felt her hand on his arms and was aware of the pleasure it gave him. Even though they had been married years enough to have two children, for they have not married needlessly in America. Now, what is their children? Slow and Hannah. Okay, they love each other even after having two children. Still, they are that feeling of love between them. Okay, after they have married so many years ago, but still they are so much in love with each other. Okay, they have not married in a haste in America. Okay, needlessly in America means they have not married in a haste in America. Rather, they returned to Japan. They have finished their work at school and had come to Japan. And when his father had seen her marriage, they had been arranged in the old Japanese way. Now, what is there? They came back to they came back to Japan after finishing their work over there, after finishing their studies, and then they sought permission from Sudo's father. And when his father agreed, then they got married in the traditional Japanese way. Okay, in the traditional Japanese way, they got married. Okay, although Sudho and Hannah had taught everything beforehand, they had perfectly happy. She laid her cheek against his arm. What they said that they are happy with each other. Okay, and Hannah rested her cheek against Sudho's arm with affection. Okay. It was at this moment that both of them saw something coming black out of the mist. Now, what happened, children? They were standing in the veranda, okay, and where they were facing towards the beach. So, I told you what is the climate was there outside, and that moment they were just enjoying their time over there. They were enjoying a good time over there. They were standing with each other, holding their hands, and that moment they saw a figure appear out of the mist. At this very moment, they saw that a black figure came out of the mist. Okay, it was a man. He was flung up out of the ocean. Flung, it seemed, to his feet by a breaker, and it appeared black in color due to why? Due to the mist around. Okay, due to the mist around, that figure colored appeared to be black, and the outline of the man. Okay, the outline of the man shows that he was a man. Okay, so the man's body was visible in the mist, and he walked unsteadily with the arms above his head. He staggered a few steps, his body outlined against the mist, his arms above his head, and then the mist covered him again. What is there? That they saw that some figure is coming out of that mist. And by the outline, they just recognized that it was a man. Okay, and he was walking very unsteadily. Okay, and with his arms above his head. But what does this shows? That he has his arms above his head. It shows that here only the writer has cleared this thing that he was coming out like a prisoner. Okay, so at this line we came to know that he was a prisoner who is coming from there. Fine, because his arms are above his head. Fine, and they cut the mist hit him again. And then what happened? The man walked a few steps, okay, and then he again get disappeared in the mist. It means fog again covered him. So they were just able to see we can see just an outline of the man. Okay, and then again he was in the mist somewhere. Okay. What is the problem, Akshita? Okay. So what we have started today, children, that we have started a story of a the enemies. Okay, and in this story, that there was Dr. Sudahoki was Japanese, and there was a war going between Japan and America. Okay, so first the writer has given the introduction of the main character of the story, that is Dr. Sudahoki, and how he tells that where he was located, where his house was located, and he told everything about his house, that it is made up of stone, and it is covered by the pine trees, bent pine trees. Okay. Then the writer has given the introduction of his father also. Okay, that his father, the most important thing for his father was his education, and he always used to guide Dr. Sudhav. And Dr. Sudhav has taken every word of his father very seriously, and he fulfilled his father's dream, and he became a very famous surgeon and as well as a very famous scientist. Okay. Now I tell you that the question is going to come from here, that what is the reason why he was not sent with the troops on the battlefield? The reason is this, children, that why he was not sent, because there were two reasons. First of all, he was discovering a medicine, okay, by which the wounds will completely clean out. And second thing, that the journal was ruling Japan, okay, he was having some medical treatment going on, and Dr. Sudhao is treating him, and he knows that in the case of emergency, the journal had to be operated. So that's why what is happening, that's why they have kept Dr. Sudhao here in Japan. Okay, then the writer also told us about his family and the love between the, his wife and him. Okay, and he also told that how he met his wife. He met his wife in America at a professor's house, Professor Hartman's house. Okay, there she met her. There she, there they both met. Okay, and how coincidentally he went there. He was not willing to go there, but he went there and he met very casually to this girl. Okay, and he thought that she will, if he came to know that she was Japanese, he would definitely express his feelings to her. Okay, so we have started after here. Then what? Now they have saw, when they were standing on their veranda, on the balcony, they saw a man coming out of the outline of a man who's coming out of the mist. Okay, and he was walking very unsteadily. And what happened? He walked a little bit, and then what happened? Then again the fog covered him, and he had what? He has his arms above his head. It shows that he was a prisoner. Okay, so children, any doubt, any problem?